In this video, I want to talk to you about how you can identify what you're missing in your job applications and lead to more job interviews and job offers. I'm doing this video because it was requested by a subscriber who later became an email subscriber and then jumped on one of my free coaching calls. She and various others have voiced their thoughts and opinions about the job application process. And I really got to kind of emphasize some of the things that I mentioned because I know others out there are struggling with the same thing. So for some of them, some of these students, they're too focused on analysis paralysis. They want to get the perfect resume, the perfect preparation and skill set done before they're even out there applying to jobs. Take some action, start applying to get feedback to see where you're dropping off. If you're getting a lot of job interviews, but not the hire, then the interview stage is where you're messing up. And I would recommend certain interview skill sets and tips. But if you're not even getting interviews and you're sending all these applications and you're not even getting an interview or a response back, then the issue comes before that with the job hiring process. Do you even have the right skills? Or if you do you position them in the right way so that the employers, the hiring managers, see that you have these skills? We're going to cover that first step first, but that's just something really important to keep in mind. They end up having these skill sets or a mismatch. And it's okay if you don't have all the skills listed on a job posting, but it's important to at least have some of them, preferably most of them. So we're actually going to hop into a screen share here, and I'm going to show you exactly how I look through a job posting so that we can actually identify how to update our own resume and cover letter to have the right keywords when applying. Now, keep in mind, it's not just about saying you have these skills when you don't. That's not what I'm saying. You also have to develop these skills because guess what? Even if you have the 100% keyword match and you get the job interview, if they're going to test you, they're going to see if you're legit or you're lying. And so you don't have to have all these skills, but the employers prefer if you have some of them. And so you have to develop these skills. Some of these can be self-taught, by the way, so there's no excuses here. So what I did here was I actually took a job posting that I was sent by a recruiter recently, and I basically just took it and put it into a Google document so that we can analyze this for you. If you're interested, leave a comment and I could do a video on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that you are getting these requests from recruiters. That being said, let's go ahead and really see how I look through a job posting so that you can do the same. So what we're really looking for at first are these phrases or keywords that are technical keywords about what they want. And you're going to do this not just for one job posting, but for a theme of job posting. This posting is directly in alignment with the type of jobs that I do for a living. I currently am a senior digital analyst. So this makes a lot of sense. I'm very familiar with this role. And the first thing is you're going to look for patterns and keywords because there's certain bullet points and keywords that matter more than others. There's soft skills like here they're looking for clear and coherent storytelling abilities, basically. That's a soft skill that you can prepare for later on when you get to the job interview. However, that's not really what they're mostly scanning the job application for. If you want, yeah, you can include something about storytelling abilities too, but notice the things I've bolded. These are the things that really kind of matter. And these are the things you want to put into your resume as much as possible. Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Looker Studio dashboards, slide templates. And then now we get into some technical stuff and some things I just bolded to illustrate another thing that they want, which is experience. So 3 years of experience as a digital analyst, 1 year hands-on experience with building dashboards in Looker Studio. And then, okay, then we get to some technical stuff again. GA4, Looker Studio, familiarity with Mixpanel, SQL, and BigQuery. Salary range, 80K to 90K, and so on and so forth. So Here's the thing. This is a consulting firm, some type of small agency role. And for some of you just starting out, you may be intimidated. I don't have 3 years of experience. I don't have this skill set. I don't have that. Look at these minimum requirements, preferred but not required. Dude, this is not a requirement. So if you don't have it, you're not out of the race. But if you do, you're probably ahead of the pack. And guess what? Real talk with you, mixed panel. Dude, if you really put your mind to it, you could learn mixed panel fairly quickly, especially if you already know Google Analytics really well. It's not going to take you that long. It may take you half a quarter, maybe a quarter, certainly not a full half-year semester like in college. So it really beats going to school for 4 years and having a college degree for something you might not even use in the real world. What about SQL? There's so many free and paid courses out there that teach you SQL, and you could get to a basic level probably in a month if you have a decent dedication and you're spending like an hour or two a day just going through one of those courses by Code Academy. I personally recommend the ones that are hands-on, where you're actually like typing in the code, and then it'll be interactive and it'll tell you what you did wrong. So like a Code Academy versus just like one of those watch the videos and don't engage your mind courses like on Udemy. That's just my preference. But point being, I think you could probably get to an intermediate level of skills in SQL in 1 semester worth of time, which is like, it's not even a full year at college. That's like half a year, not even a full half year either, because you get summer off for 3 months. So it's like, dude, it's nothing. In the real world, you can learn these skills fairly quickly. Now, BigQuery is more complicated. That will take more real world experience and stuff. So there is some of that. And this is a bit more of a senior role because you do have that 3 years of experience. If you're just starting out from scratch, you might not be able to jump right into this. But maybe you set this aside as your goalpost, and then you define a stepping stone career to get here. So maybe you have some of these skill sets and you're not getting those job interviews, and let's say you've applied to a large enough sample size. You want to make sure you didn't just apply to 7 jobs and give up. Let's say you applied to 200 jobs and you realize this isn't it. So you set that aside as a long-term goal and define a stepping stone career. This literally outlines what you might need. Of course, find a pattern across multiple job postings first. But let's say the one thing you don't have is 3 years of experience and 1 year's hands-on experience with Looker Studio. Now, this general broad 3-year experience thing, they may be able to bend to like 2 years or 1 year if you have a lot of the other skill sets. But let's just say, for example's sake, this is the one thing you're missing. Find an entry-level job that requires like 0 to 1 year's experience, where they're clearly saying, hey, we work with Looker Studio. That's where you learn Looker Studio. Boom. Then you level up, and then you take that stepping stone career. You have the skills you didn't have, and boom. I've also done another video on my YouTube channel about other ways of developing these skills at a faster speed. So Looker Studio is something you can literally teach yourself and really build yourself. And you don't necessarily need that 1 year. What they really want is, are you really legit, and can you really build these Looker Studios and you know them front to back to front? The issue is a lot of people who are just out of college or claim they know it really just spent like 5 hours learning it, and they really don't know it well. To really get to a very intimate, familiar skill set like me, I'm very advanced in Looker Studio. It takes a bit more than that. It takes real clients and real work. So as I mentioned in that other video, which you can check out on my channel, pitch people and work for free. There's various ways of building that skill set beyond just a little bit of dabbling on your own time. Same thing with BigQuery. BigQuery is, like I mentioned, a much more difficult one, even just get your hands on, because you need to be putting your credit card information down and spending a little bit of money to really just unlock BigQuery so you could play around with it and use it. And you also need like a data set to play with. So what can you do with that? Well, with some of these more difficult skill sets like Mixpanel, where they don't really offer a free version, you need to pay for it. There's not really a demo. There kind of is, but then it's like only for like 3 days or something. So then you need to find something where you find that stepping stone career to make it happen. Now, in this case, it's preferred and not required. And Mixpanel is one of those where they do have their own online university. But it's certainly indicative of the type of skills that I want to use for this example. There are some harder skills or harder tools where you just might not get access to them. A Power BI, a Tableau, something like that, Adobe Analytics, where you literally have to have access to the tool and pay a boatload for it to get that skill set. And that's where those things I mentioned come in, like freelancing, maybe spending your own money, or finding your own way, getting a stepping stone career to get those skill sets. So that's kind of what I would recommend. I know there is kind of this like paradox of experience versus non-experience, where just out of school, you don't have the experience, but every job is looking for experience. Well, how do you even get started? Those are the ways. I go into more detail in the other YouTube video about it. And we'll kind of cut the video here. The same principles apply for digital marketing job postings. I did this with a digital analyst posting because that's my current job. But before that, I worked 5 years as a digital marketer. So the same principles apply. It just might be different skill sets that you might find. Same principles apply. And I would say as a digital marketer, it is a bit easier because they're a bit more, I wouldn't say completely, it's still tough, but they're a bit more open to hiring people just out of college with no experience. So you can really get this going, and just keep in mind, it's a marathon. You don't need to jump immediately to your dream job. You can work towards it. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Join my free email newsletter. I offer free goodies like a checklist on if this job is a right fit for you, as well as other goodies such as free coaching calls with email subscribers, where I just chat them up, and they get to pick my brain directly. So if you want those free things, check out my newsletter down below. Link is in the description. Subscribe.